Good afternoon. I'm Sergeant Jason Spencer, Jasonspencer. I'm the Public Information Officer for the Fort Worth Police Department. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. We're here to provide you with an update on the investigation into a homicide that occurred Saturday night in the West 7th Entertainment District. I would like to begin by just emphasizing that every senseless death is tragic, and that is the case here. We know that it doesn't matter where a homicide happens, who it happens to, it's a tragedy for those involved, and we want to begin by acknowledging that. I know that you all are aware of the basic outline of the events. I want to provide a couple of updates. We have been able to determine that this incident arose out of an altercation that occurred between two people arising out of a private dispute, and one of the individuals involved chose to escalate that to deadly violence. I can tell you that our homicide unit, which worked tirelessly through the weekend, has identified the suspect and has just obtained a warrant for that person's arrest for the charge of murder. So we're very grateful to them for all the hard work in bringing a swift resolution to this incident. I also want to commend the response of the officers. Our West 7th officers were on scene within a minute of receiving the 911 call and immediately rendered emergency care. Unfortunately, Mr. Rogers succumbed to his injuries. I also want to commend the efforts of the medical personnel that responded. And would just like to say also that we recognize that the popularity of the West 7th area means that those who were down there that night also were victimized by this incident. People who are just out looking to enjoy a evening with their friends or family, and their sense of security is shattered by a violent event. We recognize that. We want you to know that we want all of our Fort Worth residents to feel safe to come out and enjoy their entertainment districts. The Fort Worth Police Department has continued to take measures to make sure that we're proactively addressing the level of crowds that occur in West 7th on the weekends. If you're not aware, we have anywhere between 8,000 to 10,000 people on a weekend night, and that's in a 6 square block radius. So it's quite a lot of people in a small space, and so we want to make sure that we have adequate resources. The department has devoted a full-time unit, which is the West 7th Patrol Unit. It's 25 officers that are down there dedicated just to that area, in addition to all the off-duty officers that work that area, in addition to specialized units such as the DWI Enforcement Unit, Gang Unit, Directed Response that give attention to that area as well. So we want the public to know that we are proactive in addressing the safety concerns in that area. We also want to thank the public for their cooperation, the assistance in the public in helping to resolve this case quickly. We know that keeping Fort Worth safe is a partnership between our department and our community. So with that, I'll be glad to take any questions that you may have.
Do you know whether or not the suspect and the victim knew each other previously before this incident?
I'm not able to speak to the level of their relationship. I can tell you that this did arise out of a dispute between the two of them.
Can you say anything else other than that? Was this road rage? Was this drugs? I feel like that's a big difference that our public needs to know.
Right, yeah, I hear what you're saying. So this was an incident that occurred on a sidewalk. As I said, it was just an altercation between the two individuals. So the concern out there, was this a random act of violence? No, it wasn't. This was an altercation between those two people.
In 2023, your officers confiscated more than 100 guns in the 7th Street District, almost triple the number of guns confiscated in almost every other district. What does that tell you about the work that you guys are doing down there, if anything at all?
Well, Scoop, thank you for that question. I think that's a reflection on the great work, the proactive work of the officers that are assigned to that area. The most common picture is to see officers standing on the corner at bar close and helping people get safely home. But what many of our citizens don't see is that leading up to that time, they are out there actively looking for people coming into that area who are bent on causing trouble, who are either involved in gang or drug activity or just carrying illegal weapons. And they've done a great job at filtering out a lot of that activity. And I think that's reflected in the fact that we have not seen an increase in violent crime in that area from last year to this year.
Can you speak to the victim and or the suspect? Did any of them have anything to do with any of the businesses, apartments in that area? A bar owner says his understanding is that they had nothing to do with the bar scene at all that evening.
My understanding at this point, and again, I'm speaking off of limited information, we don't have any evidence to connect them to any bars at that time.
Second deadly shooting
What
in
kind of tools or evidence led you to identify this suspect, and what can you tell us about him?
I don't want to get too much in depth on the specific evidence that led to the identification. As I said, although we do have a warrant, this is still an ongoing investigation. So I can say that we appreciate the assistance of some members of the public as well.
Spencer, second deadly shooting in less than 6 months in this area. What's going through your mind?
Well, as I said before, one shooting is too many, right? One deadly shooting to that family, that's the only one that matters, and it's a tragedy. The second one, it draws a lot of attention. This is a high-profile area. A lot of people go down there, and it's just going to naturally attract attention. The department continues to take all the proactive measures that we can and creative solutions towards ensuring that people can be safe when they go out for a night on the town.
And
With
what
spring
difference
break-
are you looking for the ambassadors who are going to be starting this spring? What difference are you looking for them to make?
Well, we're hoping that, and for those that may not know, the West 7th Ambassadors Program that he's mentioning is an idea that's been utilized downtown Fort Worth in the entertainment district down there, and we're looking to expand it to the West 7th area. And it just puts more eyes and ears on the street, a visible presence, not just for crime, but just to assist people. They can identify issues that may occur and be in contact with police. It just gives an extra amount of presence to help address problems as they may occur. Do you have a question?
With spring break on the horizon and potentially more people coming to visit, do you guys have plans to increase the amount of patrols in that dedicated unit or any extra officers down there?
That's a great question. First of all, I have been in touch with the commander of West Division, and the assessment is that typically we don't actually see a huge spike in population in West 7th area during spring break. That being said, they are running a overtime detail to get extra officers into the area during that time, just to make sure we have an extra presence available to respond and address any issues.
You said 25 officers make up is that typically what you have down there as far as coverage, or is that increased?
That's the staffing of the dedicated West 7th unit right now.
So when I was down there this afternoon, I noticed cameras at both ends of the 2900 block of Crockett that were on utility poles. Are those your cameras, the police department cameras, city cameras? And if so, what do those cameras do for you guys?
So I'm not sure exactly which cameras you're referring to. I can tell you that we do have over 20 cameras in the area that our real-time crime center is able to monitor. And the benefit of that is that if there's a gathering or an altercation that's beginning to develop, officers monitoring that can sometimes see a problem before it escalates and get officers into the area to kind of quell that. So it has been a great help in that area.
Can you give us some perspective for those who just come here, basically, unfortunately, when there is a situation like this that kind of pulls our attention here? Give us some levity as to what y'all deal with on a regular weekend basis. Like, obviously, it's not a murder, but what kind of crime, I guess, if any?
Sure. As you can imagine, anytime you put 8,000 to 10,000 people in a small area and introduce alcohol, you're going to have some things that happen. And so a lot of times, most of the time, it's actually a fairly low crime area. We'll deal with typical intoxicated related things, and officers are down there are very good at diffusing situations and helping people move on, and just really focus on trying to make sure everybody has a good time and goes home safe at the end of the night. That's our primary concern. And the vast majority of weekends, that's all they do.
At this point, is there any way to guarantee we won't have another deadly shooting in 6 months?
Well, Scoop, I wish I could guarantee that. I can't predict the future. I can tell you that your police department and your city leaders, and we're very, very blessed in Fort Worth to have city leadership and city council that comes alongside the Fort Worth Police Department and gives us the resources that we need, but also comes up with solutions and funds those solutions that reach beyond just enforcement. So you've got a number of public safety solutions that they're working. The West 7th Ambassador Program is one of those. Another program that we're looking at is installing traffic bollards in the area, which seems kind of prosaic, but that's a measure that allows us to block off streets, which right now it takes an officer to do that. So at the end of the night, between 1 a.m. to 2 a.m., you're tying down 7, 8 officers to just block intersections for traffic control and flow. This will free up those officers, so now we have that many more officers who are free to move around the area and address problems as they arise, and hopefully before they become a deadly situation.
How soon will we see that?
I'm not sure what the time frame is on that. It's been funded, and so they're just going through the procurement process, and I don't know what the ultimate time frame will be before they're installed.
Did either the suspect and or the victim live in this neighborhood by any chance?
My understanding is that the victim is a resident of Fort Worth. I don't believe in the West 7th area, and we're not providing any additional information about the suspect right now until they're in custody.
And what
Going
do you
back
Saying
to
they
the
have been at any establishment there? You're not saying.
I don't have any information to that effect, no.
We'll take one more question. Going back to the ambassador program, my understanding is it still needs to get these necessary signatures to create the PID. What would you say to those stakeholders in the area who are maybe hesitant to invest in this?
Well, I think it's incumbent on all of our community, our leaders, our business leaders, our political leaders, and the leaders in public safety to work together. And when we identify a possible solution, it's important to move towards that together as fast as we can. And the Fort Worth Police Department stands ready to assist in that any way we can.